Yeah, so I'm glad that you're all here. This gives me a chance to repent of my sins as a syndicator for 42 years. Most of you might have invested in real estate syndications in those 42 years, and we all lied to you as syndicators and said that your money was illiquid and that you were tied up for 5 to 10 years. If that sounds like a familiar story, that's the story we told you, but it was not true. The truth was you invested in a company that owned the real estate, and that's a security, and it could have been liquid. And there is a tremendous market. I've known about it for 42 years because I had to buy some of those interests back when people needed. For example, my wife is sick and the hospital bills are piling up and the insurance is not covering them, or my kid got into Harvard. Who knew how expensive that was going to be? But remember when I told you I was investing for my kid to get into school? And I was like, yeah, how do you say no to that? So we built PREIshare to correct that. If you want to have a feel-good investment, I can tell you this will change the industry. 7 out of 10 people told me that they would not invest with me, even though they contacted to invest with my company. The last one I had was RealSource, very successful multifamily company. And that company, we had superior market performance, and we were sought out a lot. But 7 out of 10 people would say, no, I can't invest with you because I can't have you tie up my money for 5 to 10 years. I have no idea that I might need it. And again, I was a myriad of reasons. One guy called me one day and he says, I need my money back. And I said, what do you need it back for? And he says, the new Ferrari's coming out. I want the Italia. And it's like, I got to have it. And it's like, yeah, I got a little sports car fetish myself. I can see where, that was almost as important as that kid getting into Harvard, So when we built PREIshare, it was around fixing that ill by making this illiquid asset, quote unquote, liquid again. But in the process of doing that, we realized that there was a value associated with making things liquid. And there was a discounting that you could make on that would not relevant to the pain that they were feeling, but relevant to the need that they had at the moment and a lifestyle change. And when we started looking at the characteristics of everything that could happen because of this, you could just picture how it would change the real estate industry. And I could wax poetic for hours about how it will change. It will lower the cost of equity, but increase the return to the investor through continually reinvesting, compounding gains by recognizing on short cycle investments. There's a myriad of places I could go with you. But the biggest thing that it will do right now is it will de-risk the real estate industry, because it will drive down, if you got another 3 or 4 investors out of that 10 that said no, that would invest because they were liquid, the cost of equity would go down. Does that mean as an investor you're going to take less? No, because if you understand how real estate works, 2 to 3 years out, you could recapture the gain and reinvest that gain. So when you model that out, you realize that your internal rates of return over that 10 years, because you've re-upped that money through 2 or 3 times, your internal rates of return almost triple in that period of time because you're recognizing the gain. So that's why we built this company. We built it because we want to build a secondary market for those interests, and we're getting tremendous buy-in from sponsors who are beginning to understand the mistake, the blunder that we made all these years. And the second thing is we're getting a tremendous buy-in from investors who do have those needs. What does it mean for you as an investor? You're going to get a better rate of return because of the discounting. You're going to get deal flow that will allow you to reinvest that money every 2 to 3 years by recognizing those gains. So you're going to get those higher internal rates of return over that investment cycle. It's a soft commitment. You only invest with your checkbook. You vote with your checkbook quarterly based on the deal flow. So it's not like it's a, bend your arm trying to get you into this deal. The thing I like the most about it is it in and of itself is liquid, because after 2 to 3 years, those assets start turning. If you're buying them mid-cycle, they start turning, and then you can make a decision on your own about if you want to reinvest the gains, or if you want to take them, how much money you want to take off the table every quarter, that will be available to you. That was when I sat down and thought about it, there's so many things right about that. I need to be the first investor in it. So I am. I made the first commitment. So, and I locked out $1 million for just a $100,000 deposit. And one of the things you find, I don't know if Kent's around here, but he is really reticent to hold cash on the books. So it's not like we're looking to, despite what Arthur says, we're not trying to get our hands in your pocket so much. We're only looking for a 10% deposit on the soft commitments for how much you want to take of that fund, because it's on an ongoing basis. So you vote with your checkbook every quarter based on the current deal flow and guidance for that quarter. So that's basically it. Once they understood that, and then they understood that their investors are not taking a haircut by going to a pref of 6 rather than 9, because they can do their own exiting. They can take their own gains whenever they want and reinvest those gains whenever they want, and that will give them a higher yield. 100% buy-in on that. We all see the problem now, so I suspect that even if you don't have an approved sponsor with us, I suspect that if we talk to them, they would make that happen for you. So the listing hub is finally coming into beta. If you've got properties like that, like Aaron says, let's get them on the market, because we've got 41,000 accredited investors that we expose it to. Arthur,
5,000 family offices.
5,000 family offices, and
No, 17,000 that pretend they're family offices.
and then if steps in, then you've got institutional capital. So, chances are we're going to get you the best price we can get you. So it's a highly competitive marketplace, will be, for those assets. That's what we'll use to create our deal flow. So we will buy out of those. So what you're getting when you get with PREIshare is you're going to get a higher rate of return. You're going to get both on cash flows and on internal rates of return. You'll have the liquidity where you can self-direct, what do you want to take in form of gains, reinvest, or cash, take the cash quarterly. You can also do the same thing with cash flows. Still tax advantaged. All of those are pass-through benefits. So, and I'm not going to give you any more tax advice, but it is tax advantaged. So you can talk with your accountants about that feature. But the thing I like about it is that for a nominal investment, you're getting the most diversified portfolio you can get. You're going to own in a large number of geographical locations. You're going to own a large number of asset classes. There's some asset classes, like right now, I don't think Kent's going to allow for office space, but other than that, and maybe some restrictions on retail, but there will be a diversification in asset classes and a diversification of sponsors. So that's what I think is what's attractive about this. This is it. Where do you go to get lower risk? Be able to self-direct your own investment in real estate and higher returns, despite the lower risk. So it solved a lot of problems. Once these guys got through engineering this, it just made a lot of sense. So that's what we're inviting you to tonight. So if it makes sense, love to have you join us.
There's a number of people that have asked me how we're going to be able to achieve the kind of returns that Mike was talking about. And Mike mentioned one of the things he said in there, we're going to make investing in real estate a lot less risky. Well, how do you do that? This is an avenue to do it. And Mike, in repenting of the sins of the past and all the real estate syndication, he's created an opportunity to be able to do exactly that, to achieve those kind of returns with a lot less risk. When you're doing a real estate syndication initially, when you're putting it out there, it's based on pro forma returns, and the sponsor hopes that they'll be able to achieve that. And of course, if you're with a good sponsor, hopefully you'll be able to do that. What I like about it as a fund manager is, instead of buying that when it was pro forma and it had a 5 to 10 year investment horizon, but if they could get a an investment that has an equity multiple of 2.0 and allow me to do that in half the time by buying it later on when it already has a track record, which reduces the risk. That to me is a big, big thing for me as a fund manager. And to pick up a whole bunch of those at a discount would be great. But even if I had to pay par for what the investor put in it and do that to get that equity multiple in about half the time, to me, that's worth a great deal to me as a fund manager, and of course, a great deal to the investors. So I don't want to go over everything that Mike said, but just those two big things to do at a lower risk and to be able to get those kind of returns with short cycle investing, that makes a big opportunity for me as a fund manager. So I'm excited to see the secondary market take off. It's going to give an opportunity for a lot of people putting their things there for at least to have us give it a quick first look to see if we'd be interested in it for the fund. So looking forward to that.
All right, so take out your checkbook and enjoy the cocktails. Thank you for hosting, guys. Here to PREIshare.